Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode 37 of High Street Sports. My name is Chris. This is John Ross. We are back in action after a lengthy holiday layoff, so appreciate you guys. And once again, we are on the road to 100 subs, so thank you guys for everybody that's already subbed to the YouTube. Everybody that comes back and interacts with us each week as we talk about, this glorious season that is football season, even though college football only has one game left. Exciting round of playoff games happened there, and an exciting NFL last week that's coming up. Well, I don't know how exciting it's going to be with all these players sitting out, but an exciting playoffs that we're looking forward to the NFL. So we still got about a month left of football season in the NFL. But again, thank you guys. We're inching closer to 100 subs. I think the last time I checked, we were at 78. We could be at 80. I don't know. I haven't looked since earlier today, but thank you guys so much for all the support in our, first season, quote unquote, covering, blabbering about college and NFL football. We really appreciate you guys and everybody that's come out and interacted with our videos and watched and, listened to our dumb opinions on this beautiful game that we all love. John Ross, what's going on, man? How you doing? Glad to be back.
Yeah, man. Excited to be back after a little break off. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Sad that with the new year brings one final college football game until next season, but it should be a good one. We're excited to talk about that. And then a lot to talk about in the NFL this week with playoff picture, clinching scenarios, stuff like that. But I know you wanted to talk a little bit transfer portal college football news before we get into the national championship game.
Yeah, so it is 7:56 on Thursday, January 4th. So about half an hour ago or so, Will Howard, Kansas State quarterback, transferred, committed to Ohio State. Big pickup for the Buckeyes. If you watched the Cotton Bowl, you saw some of the worst offensive football that I think any of us have ever laid our eyes on. A lot of unfortunate scenario there. I don't think that is an indictment on Devin Brown or Lincoln Kienholz, but when you look at the Ohio State quarterback situation for what it is right now after Kyle McCord's departure, in addition was needed. So, Will Howard is a big guy, 6'5", 240 or 250 or whatever he is, can run the ball, use his legs, and throw the ball. So he's going to be a welcome sight for Ryan Day and that Buckeye offense, who looks to return most of the offensive line, has hosted a couple offensive line transfer prospects in the last couple of days, has been in contact with Alabama center, who has entered the transfer portal. Can't remember his name. Can't remember his name, but he has been in contact with Ohio State, a guy that can play center, but also can play right guard. So it would be,
and pitcher.
A pickup for the Buckeyes. Also fires snaps it at poor Jalen Milroe at 100 miles an hour from about 13 feet. Also, some news in the transfer portal. Quinshad Judkins has entered the portal as well from Ole Miss. There have been some reports that he and Ohio State have been in contact. Not sure if that will be a likely landing spot for Quinshad or not, but that would make that room dynamic as well, in a room that the Buckeyes need to add another one as well. So, if Travion Henderson comes back, you add Quinshad Judkins to that room. That's a pretty formidable two-headed monster there in that running back room. So we'll see what happens there. But big news, Will Howard has chosen the Buckeyes. So they get their guy, 1-year guy, which is always what it was going to be with the addition of Aaron Noland, who is, maybe the heir apparent next year after he develops. But, it adds to the competition for Devin Brown and Lincoln Kienholz. And again, man, like if you watch that Cotton Bowl, there's not a single conclusion that you can draw on Lincoln Kienholz. That poor guy had free rushers in his face every single damn play. That was just miserable. But we're not here to talk about that, but just wanted to go ahead and make that piece of news and put that out there for a current event that happened just before we got on here to record this beautiful show. Also, if you were living under a rock, then you missed the pretty good college football playoff games. I don't know if there's been a year that has had two games that were that exciting. Both of them back to back, just really good games. Alabama took the lead in the third quarter and really some, just mental mistakes. You saw Nick Saban walk up and down the sideline and say it a couple times to himself. I mean, we're just beating ourselves. And they let one get away. They took momentum back in that third quarter, and credit to Michigan and Jim Harbaugh and company for being able to go retake momentum and ultimately put that game away in overtime. And then on the other side of that, Quinn Ewers just couldn't quite do enough to get past Michael Penix Jr. in Washington. So, that sets up a pretty exciting national championship game. Two teams that we've not seen compete for that trophy since the college football playoff has been around. What are your initial thoughts on what we saw in those playoff games and then, going into this national championship game?
Yeah, kind of two different stories in each game. The first game, kind of a grinded out defensive battle right until the last back half of the fourth quarter in overtime. But Michigan's defense played really, really well, sacked Milroe 7 times. I think Coach Saban was on Pat McAfee's show today and said something about how they were kind of hesitant to pass the ball with how quickly Michigan was getting pressure on Milroe. That's why they ran it a lot. Really sucks. I texted you. I knew, like, after Milroe scrambled for that first down on the first play of the overtime on Alabama's possession, as soon as that fourth, I knew they were going to call his number on that. It sucks the snap was so low. I did see some videos that they were trying to run something similar to that counter they ran on the first play. He didn't. I don't think they drew up QB power. It just happened that way because the snap was so low and they couldn't. He had to do something or he was going to get sacked. But tough way to end the season for Alabama. I know this is probably Saban's best coaching job. A lot of people are saying, and I would agree with that too, with the team he had. Michigan, they played like they have all year, methodical. They take chances. I mean, they went for it on fourth down a few times. I mean, say what you want about Harbaugh, man. He's got balls. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to play it risky. And I think I want to know what the over/under on flea flickers is for the national. I've never seen a team run so many flea flickers in one game in my entire life, unsuccessfully, except one of them. But it should be an interesting game out of them. See how they can slow down the high-power offense of Washington. That game, complete opposite. You had 21 points between both teams in the first half. It was neither defense could slow each other down in the first half. Washington, their defense did step up in the beginning of the second half. Texas did make a little bit of a comeback there toward the end, make it interesting. But Michael Penix Jr. over 400 yards passing, some incredible passes to dots along the sideline. Rome Odunze and McMillan, I think they both had over 100 yards receiving. Should be a very interesting national championship game. Kind of a clash of styles. Like I said, Washington, high-powered offense. Michigan, very methodical. Washington trying to be the infinite Pac-12 national champion, send the Pac-12 out with a bang. That's a very interesting storyline. But, really excited for this national championship game. Like I said, it's something different than what we've had. I don't know, did we want to get right into picks, or did you have thoughts initially on the matchup between Michigan and Washington?
No, I mean, I just, it's going to be, like you said, it's kind of a clash of styles, and Michigan's defense, to your point, on that final play, especially Michigan's defensive line kind of blew up that last play for Alabama. I think on that replay, you would see Michigan's defensive end just kind of blow up Alabama's right tackle or right guard and just push him right into Milroe, which knocked them off balance initially and kind of blew up that play from the start. So it's going to be interesting to see, how Washington can counter Michigan's pressure. They're going to blitz the shit out of Michael Penix Jr. and kind of try to make that game as uncomfortable as they can for him, and rightfully so. And if Michigan can perform the way that they did against Alabama defensively in this national championship game, then you got to like their chances there. But I think for me, what this game's going to come down to is can Michigan score with Washington? If this turns into a track meet, you got to like the Huskies because they've got, weapons all over the field. Rome Odunze and McMillan and, Michael Penix Jr. can use his legs. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Michael Penix Jr. has beat Michigan before when he was in Indiana. So it's going to be, an interesting revisit to that sort of quote unquote, I don't want to call it a rivalry, but that familiar face against a familiar team. But it's been unbelievable to watch Michael Penix Jr. and they highlighted him on ESPN that day, before those games, and just really went through all the injuries that he went through at Indiana. And his ability to get back on the field after, I think, 4 knee injuries and a shoulder surgery, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, the kid's just been through hell and high water, and, you see what he's been able to do since joining Washington, and it's nothing short of a miracle, really, that he's even playing football. Nonetheless, a Heisman Trophy finalist and now playing for a national championship. So, credit to him and credit to Washington for being able to do what they've done all year. And, we've talked about it coming down the stretch in the last month of the regular season, how they kind of had some close calls and really didn't look like a dominant team as they did in the early part of the season, but they found a way to win. And they did the same thing against Texas. So, it's going to be a fun game, I think. And, like I said, for me, it comes down to, can Michigan keep up with Washington if it turns into a track meet? And then on the other side of that, can Michigan's defense, keep Washington's offense off the field and let J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum do what they do, which is really just wear you down. So, it's going to be a fun one. I haven't really given too much thought as far as like a score prediction goes. However, I definitely kind of see this game going one way, and I can't help but think that Washington's going to be able to kind of move the ball up and down the field a little bit. I don't know. Do you want to go first with your score prediction?
Yeah, I will. Well, just my pick. I'll say this. I would like to see Washington win. I think it's a really cool story. Michael Penix Jr., all he's been through, and last year the Pac-12 for them to go out with a natty. However, and this is not – I see the shirt you're wearing. I see the flag behind you. This is not a troll. I'm going to pick Michigan. I think their defense is going to slow Washington's offense down, and their front seven is elite, man. They were blowing up Alabama's offensive line, getting in that backfield like crazy. I know Washington's got a pretty good offensive line, but this is definitely the best defense they faced all year long. They've got good corners too. I think they can. They can't stop Odunze and those other guys, Polk, McMillan. I think they can slow them down. And the offense, Washington still don't have a great defense. They do just enough, I think, to win, and they have stepped up when they needed this year. So, I mean, they could surprise me, but I just think Michigan's methodical style is going to wear them down. If Blake Corum and their 8 other running backs they have can just churn away and get chunk yardage, and you get a good pass play, a good flea flicker here and there from J.J. McCarthy. I just think Michigan can wear Washington's defense down and exploit them. And I know we say a lot, which quarterback do you trust most? Obviously, Michael Penix Jr. is far and away the better quarterback in this matchup. I think this game comes down to which defense do you trust more, and I just trust Michigan's defense more. And I think Michigan will win. I think the final score, I'm going to go 24-20 Michigan.
Yeah, and I've kind of had that same sort of thought too, especially after seeing what Michigan's defense did to Alabama. But as good as Michigan's front seven is on defense, that's an Alabama offensive line that struggled with pass protection pretty much all year. They struggled in games that they shouldn't have, and Milroe kind of ran for his life a lot this season. And conversely, on the other side of that, Washington does have a pretty good offensive line. And, I trust Michael Penix to throw the ball more than I trust J.J. McCarthy to throw the ball. With the weapons that Washington has on offense, I like the Huskies in this game, and I'm going to pick the Huskies to beat Michigan because I just don't see Michigan being able to score the ball at the rate that Washington has the potential to, should Michigan's defense not shut Washington's offense down. So I'm going to pick the Huskies 37, and I'll give Michigan 24. So I'll go 37-24 Huskies, and I'll pick Washington and Michael Penix Jr. to Michael Penix Jr. finally go out on a high note in college football after 7 years. However, I still think that Michigan could win that game, but I will pick Washington. So
yeah, I don't know what it is. I just think they're good. Like I said, I think it's just I think one of the defenses is going to win this game. And also I trust Michigan to get a turnover more than I trust Washington, even though not saying J.J. McCarthy couldn't have a brain fart and like he did early in the game against Alabama. I don't know. I just think their defense is firing on all cylinders right now, and stand. I'm not saying they will. I just think they stand the best chance of anybody of slowing down Washington's offense, because we have seen Washington's offense really struggle this year against inferior defenses.
That's true too, and I think the biggest part that we haven't covered yet was it's coaching, and Michigan in large part outcoached Alabama in a lot of that game, which is something that I wasn't expecting to see out of a Nick Saban staff. So, I mean, it should be a fun one. It's different.
They play a hard. I use the word methodical. They play a hard style. It's frustrating if you can't stop it, because go back to the Ohio State game. They didn't really generate any big plays. They just kept churning and eating up clock, churning down that field. They took chances when they had to with a lot. How many they had to have gone for at least 6 fourth downs in that game.
Yeah, 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah. And like you said, I know Ohio State, you hate them, but you got to give it to them. I mean, they take chances other people aren't willing to take, and then they convert them. I mean, Harbaugh's got balls. I will give him that. He's a weird dude. I also think his dad is just him dressed as an older man.
Probably is. That dude's a fucking strange guy, man. But anyways, no, it should be a fun game. It should be fun to watch. 2 different teams, 2 teams that haven't played for a national championship, like I said, under this format.
I told you before we started too, you can find solace in this if you can. Even if they win it, it's probably going to get taken away.
Yeah.
I know they'd still win it, but
yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't have faith in the NCAA to have the balls to do anything.
Like I said,
significant.
I would who I would like to see win, Washington, just because the story would be awesome. I'm going to go with my head here, though, and pick Michigan. But
can we stop calling them America's team? Jesus God. Stop calling them America. Everybody calls them America. They do. America's team. Unbelievable.
In Michigan, do they call them that?
Yes. Michigan fans call themselves.
If you need a reason to pull for Washington. Wait, where am I going? That's
the good boy.
That is Dubs. We need
the good boy. The good boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's that's what's going to shape up to be a pretty exciting ending to an exciting college football season. There will be more news here on this platform as things develop this offseason with college football.
Ending of the 14 playoff too.
Ending of the 14 playoff, moving to 12 teams. College football will continue to change, and we will be here to cover it all for you guys. So,
sorry, Liberty fans. Sorry you lost. At least you have January 6th this weekend. You can move on.
The brighter side of things. Well, that puts a plug on the end of our college football discussion for this season. It's been fun. But now we will flip to the other side of what this show does, and we will talk about NFL football as it comes down the stretch. A big week for a lot of teams last week in the NFL. My picks went 10-6 once again. I feel like I've done that for 3 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, I think you went 10-6 the week before too.
I think I did, and then 11-5 the week before that, maybe, or something like that. But I've been hot. I still won't catch John Ross in the overall pick counter here.
So I went 12-4 last week. I'm 158 and 100. What'd you say you were? 144 and
114. Yeah. So John Ross wants to know, what do I have to do if I lose in the overall pick rankings, which I will?
So your only hope to go out on top is if I go 0-16 this week and you go,
which is possible,
at the very least 15-1. If I go 0-16 and you jump me, I want, I should be tarred and feathered.
You got to go out. What's the river that runs through Chattanooga?
The Tennessee River.
You got to go jump in the Tennessee River.
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
And I will I don't know.
No, we need you guys to, if you're watching this, we need you to comment what you think the loser for the regular season record should have to do.
Fair
And
enough. We'll leave it up to
and
you guys. Be
we
nice.
will take it to corporate and come back with a decision.
Be nice, please.
Yeah. But yeah, like I
don't.
said, we're in the last week of the NFL season. Not really a lot to play for some teams this week. A lot to play for, and a couple for some teams still, though, as far as playoff seeding goes and making the playoffs. Yeah, before we get into the games this week, which we have 16 games, 2 on Saturday, and then the rest of them on Sunday, we'll get into I'm going to give you guys the current playoff picture. So in the AFC, you got the Ravens at number 1. They've clinched the number 1 seed and their division. So this week, they're going to be resting a lot of guys. I know Lamar's not playing. They have a lot of guys banged up too, like Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey. So they're going to definitely use this week and the bye week they get being the number 1 seed to get some guys healthy. That's a scary thought with how well they're already playing. They still have guys that are waiting to get healthy. But yeah, then you got the Dolphins at 11-5, the 2 seed. They have clinched the playoffs. They play the Bills this week. We'll get into that game later. Then you have the Chiefs. They are locked into the 3 seed at 10-6. They've clinched the playoffs and the AFC West. You got the Jags at 9-7. They have not clinched the AFC South. That will be determined this week. We'll get into that a little bit later. And then you got the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, back in the playoffs at 11-5. They have clinched a playoff spot, and they are locked into that 5 seed. So I know Joe Flacco isn't playing this week. I know Kevin Stefanski, that's the only player he's mentioned that's not playing. I would imagine a lot of guys, especially on the defensive
Jeff Driscoll, baby. Jeff Driscoll.
I would imagine a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball for them aren't going to be playing this week. Who was it who said, wasn't it Juan Thornton will play anybody anywhere, the safety?
Oh, yeah. He did, yeah. And I think that's the mood for the Browns as a whole, man. They're fired up.
Yeah, I would be. And God help whatever team if they somehow had to go to Cleveland for a playoff game, if the chips fell that way.
Give me some lake effect snow, baby.
Good Lord. There'd still be a shirtless guy there dressed as a bulldog.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then you have the Bills at the 6th seed right now. They're in a very interesting situation. We will get to them later. They're in the Sunday night game against the Dolphins. And then you got the Colts, surprise team in the playoffs this year. They're currently in the 7th spot, but that could change after this week's games. In the NFC, you got the Niners locked into the 1 seed. They clinched the 1 seed, and the NFC West with their win, and the Eagles and the Lions loss this past week. And then you got the Cowboys at the 2 seed. They are not locked into that seed, but they've clinched the playoffs. You got the Lions at 11-5. They've clinched the playoffs and the NFC North. They do have the opportunity to move up in seeding, though, to that 2 seed. You got the Bucks at 8-8. They have not clinched a playoff spot, though. That remains to be seen this week. They play the Panthers, so you'd think they'd win, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Number 5, you got the Eagles at 11-5, a team just in an absolute tailspin right now. They have clinched a playoff spot, but they are not locked into that 5 seed. At 6, you got the Rams at 9-7. They have clinched a playoff spot. They could drop to that 7 seed, though, this week, depending on how a few games go. I do know Stafford's not playing, Cooper Kupp's not playing, Aaron Donald's not playing, Kyron Williams isn't playing. So they're sounds like they're in the same boat as the Browns. They don't care who they play. They'll go play anywhere. They know they're in a playoff spot, which I like that mentality from Sean McVay and the Rams. And then at the 7 seed, you have the Packers at 8-8. They are not locked into that. They could change that this week. But yeah, that is your playoff picture currently. A couple surprises, couple chalk picks right there. Who was your Super Bowl? 49ers and Bengals?
Yeah.
And mine was the Ravens and the Eagles. I feel good about one of those picks right now, at least.
Oh, one of mine has taken themselves out.
Yeah, well, injuries. I think injuries affected that one. Yeah, spoiler alert. The team I don't feel good about my pick is the team that wears green.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting into this week's games, you got first Saturday game, rivalry game, although a lot of guys aren't playing on one side of the ball. You got the Steelers at the Ravens. Pittsburgh's favored -3.5 in this one. They can clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Bills loss to Miami this week. Regardless, Mike Tomlin has clinched his – I think he's been coaching 17 years now, and his 17th winning season. That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Like with how bad this – like if you look at this team on paper, aside from TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, like most of the on the defensive side of the ball, it is amazing that they are in the position they're in, and it's all Mike Tomlin. And he's just 100%. An incredible coach, and I can't believe some Pittsburgh people are growing tired of him. Get him good players. How about that?
Yeah.
On offense.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anybody that Pittsburgh fans should be mad at, it's not Mike Tomlin. No way.
Yeah. Yeah. But, like I said, Lamar's not playing. Odell, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith probably won't play. I imagine Zay Flowers won't play. A lot of guys probably, I think, are dealing with some not really major injuries, but some nicks. So you definitely want to you're locked in the number 1 seed. Rest them. You're the best. Ravens right now, in my opinion, are the best team in football. Lamar's going to win the MVP. There's a reason I picked him to be in the Super Bowl. I know how good he is. To your point, I know you made a lot this year. He does have to perform in the playoffs, but these are the best weapons he's had since he's been there. Isaiah Likely's really stepping up at tight end in for Mark Andrews. They actually just signed Dalvin Cook this afternoon too. So
was it Dalvin or his brother?
It's Dalvin Cook. No, yeah. James plays for the Bills. Yeah,
that's wonderful.
But
wonderful.
We'll see what he can do. I mean, he didn't really have a good year for the Jets, but the Jets are the Jets. We'll see what he can do. But the Ravens have an incredibly deep running back room. Even though with the injuries to J.K. Dobbins and Keaton Mitchell, they still got Gus Edwards and Justice Hill and Lamar. You got to respect him in the run game too. But yeah, Ravens are nasty, man. But I do think I will pick the Steelers in this week's game. I think the Steelers are playing for more. They don't control their own destiny. Well, I guess if they win, they want to win.
They control half of their destiny.
Yeah, they need help. But yeah, I just think the Steelers, with all the guys sitting out you will have former Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley playing quarterback for the Ravens. So we'll see. But yeah, I just think the Steelers are playing for more this week. The Ravens are trying to rest up, get healthy, go on a playoff run. So yeah, give me Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'll take Pittsburgh in that one too, just for every reason that you named. They got more to play for, trying to get into a playoff spot. They can't get even consideration for that playoff spot if they don't win this game. So, yeah, I'll take the Steelers in that one too.
And I would like to know how in the hell the Ravens were able to get Roquan Smith from the Bears for only a second-round pick.
Well, I guess that's when Bears were hard selling at that point, I guess.
Dude,
season kind of turned around a little bit.
He is filthy.
They also didn't want to pay him too. So
they're idiots. He is so good. The dude is everywhere. But yeah, I think we're both picking the Steelers in that one. So
I'll take the Steelers.
Moving on to another game with playoff implications. AFC South matchup, Texans at the Colts. This is the second Saturday game, second of two. Indy's favored -1 in this one. Both teams coming off wins. Colts beat the Raiders, and the Texans beat the Titans last week. So the winner of this can clinch the AFC South and that 4 seed in the AFC with a win, but the Jags have to lose to the Titans. So a lot to play for in this one. CJ Stroud back healthy last week after being out a couple games with a concussion. The Colts, Gardner Minshew and Jonathan Taylor, they grinded out another win against the Raiders. This one being in Indy, I'm going to go with the Cinderella. I guess you could go on both Cinderella stories. People didn't expect much for the Texans with the rookie quarterback, but CJ Stroud has played amazing this year, probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But give me the Colts at home in this one. I'll just take a home field advantage over the Texans in this one.
Yeah, I'll take the Texans. I'll take CJ Stroud and that bunch. That's a lot to play for, especially for a rookie playing for a shot at the playoffs in a rookie season in which a lot of people didn't really think that the Texans were going to be much of anything. So, it's an uphill battle being on the road. But I like what I've seen out of CJ. He's played like a seasoned veteran pretty much all year, given the circumstances that he was, given. So I will take CJ and the Texans there. So with what you said earlier, basically, if the Jags win, they win the division.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, same situation as the game before. Whoever wins still does need some help to win the AFC South and get in the playoffs. Next game, another divisional game. Actually, think all the games. Yeah, all the games this week are divisional games.
Yeah.
Rivalry game in Lambeau. Bears at Packers. Bears coming off a win against the Falcons. Packers coming off a win against the Vikings. And Green Bay's favored -3 in this one. Green Bay can clinch that seven seed with – actually, they can clinch a playoff spot with a win. They don't need help from anybody else. All they need to do is win. If they win and the Rams win, they'll be the 7th seed. If they win and the Rams lose, they'll be the 6th seed. But yeah, regardless, they win and you're in. I'm going to take Green Bay in this one, being in Lambeau. I think Green Bay's playing really well right now. Jordan Love is playing really, really well right now. But I think I think this could be the best game of the week. The Bears are playing really, really well right now as well. Justin Fields is making – the Bears are in a pretty sweet spot, in my opinion. They have the number 1 pick, courtesy of the Panthers. Ain't that a bitch? But yeah, they can stand pat at that number 1 pick and take the next quarterback and trade Justin Fields, especially if he has a good game this week like he has been. His value is at an all-time high. Or they could trade that number 1 pick for another weapon on offense or defense and draft like someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. to give Justin Fields along with DJ Moore. So yeah, the Bears are in a pretty sweet spot right now. Just need to see if they don't mess it up. But yeah, I'm of the opinion I think Justin Fields has earned the right to he's playing well enough, or I think you give him another go, get him a weapon like Marvin Harrison, and you have the number 10 pick too. Or if you want to trade back and accumulate more picks to get more weapons on both sides of the ball. But yeah, Bears are in a really, really sweet spot right now.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers game being in Lambeau and how well they're playing and kind of what's on the line for the Packers. So I'll take the Packers in that one too. Bears fans, the ones that were trying to run Justin out of the building, last season and throughout the early part of this season before they started playing well. I hope you feel like an idiot because you look like one. Justin was never the problem. The problem, I think, has pretty much been proved that it's everywhere else other than Justin Fields. His receivers really can't catch outside of DJ Moore. So, he's made chicken salad out of chicken shit for the time that he's been in Chicago. I know his record doesn't really speak, highly of the way things have gone. But again, it's never been Justin's fault. If you want to wish him out of town, go ahead. Have fun with Caleb Williams.
And next up, we got the Buccaneers at the Panthers. Bucs coming off a loss. They could have clinched the NFC South last week with a win, but lost to the Saints in New Orleans and playing the Panthers, who got shut out by the Jags. They suck. Worst season in team history. Tampa Bay's favored -5.5. They can clinch the NFC South with a win. They don't need help from anybody else. Give me the Bucs in this one. I know Baker didn't practice yesterday. He threw some today. But even a banged up Baker Mayfield can beat this Panthers team.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucs as well.
Yeah. Fuck you, Tepper.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
Yeah, he sucks. He's a loser.
Throw your drink on somebody.
I'm glad. Yeah, shout out to all the media for past couple of days for blasting his clown ass. He deserves every bit of it.
Basically a $300 fine.
Whatever. I'm more interested in the smear campaign he's getting in the media right now. He's a joke. Moving on from that clown. We got the Browns going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Browns, like I said, Flacco's resting. Probably going to be resting a lot of other guys too. The Bengals, kind of a shitty year for them. A lot of injuries they've had to deal with. They have made it interesting these past couple of weeks, fighting and grinding with Jake Browning back there at quarterback. But yeah, they're favored -4.5 in this one. I'll take the Bengals. I think go into next season with some more confidence. And the Browns don't really have much to play for right here. I think they're just a kind of a rest week for them. Maybe get a look at some depth guys. But yeah, give me the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I'll take the Bengals as well. With the Browns sitting everybody, and I would assume that everybody for the Bengals is going to play. They have no reason to sit, I guess, unless, T. Higgins and Jamar just kind of say screw it and don't want to play. Haven't seen that. Don't really expect that out of them. So, they've got money to play for going into contract years, I think, for both of them, right? For T and Jamar.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've got money to play for, and they've got decisions to make the Bengals front office make. So, yeah, I'll take the Bengals in that one, just kind of given what the situation is for the Browns. However, Jeff Driscoll, go out there and have a game, bub. Go out there and do something to remember.
And next up, NFC North game, Vikings at Lions. Detroit favored -5.5. Vikings coming off a loss to the Packers last week, and the Lions coming off an absolute robbery of a loss in Dallas.
The Dallas screw job.
Yeah. Taylor Decker did report. We're just going to say that here on High Street Sports. He wasn't walking up to the ref to ask him how his Christmas went, what his New Year's plans were. He did report. Yeah.
And not only that, the white hat just literally ran away from him.
And robbed that man of an all-time football memory.
Yeah, I mean, that's just inexcusable. And then Dan Campbell also, told him, we told you what was going on. We told somebody. We told one of these officials, and they all have got earpieces.
I'd be on a warpath if I was Dan Campbell, dude.
You and I have said it for the longest time. How subdued he was.
And you and I have said it for the longest time. The head official for any sport should have media availability after the game, because they even said
not
the next
NFL
day
saying.
Like you said, not coming out the next day when it doesn't matter anymore and saying, "Oh, we got that wrong."
It's ridiculous. You can't require these guys to stick around for 20 minutes after the game and answer questions the same way players do, coaches do. Hell, sometimes the GM and owners get out there and answer questions.
And a lot of and to be honest, most of the time they wouldn't even need to stick around. I mean,
I don't know.
It may seem like this happens a lot because it's magnified so much more when it does happen. The actuality, it doesn't. It doesn't happen enough where that would be just an inconvenience on them to do that. It's ridiculous, and I kudos for them for demoting them from the playoffs. But okay, they need to be fired completely. They should never.
In a lot of circumstances, they have as much impact on the game as any one of those players or coaches do.
Yeah.
And it's case in point in this very situation. And you're telling me that guy, at least the white hat, and it should be the white hat, whatever the crew chief is, should have to sit in front of the media and take 20 minutes of questioning. And, especially in a case like this, and the fact that they don't, and then they just take their fine and walk away and maybe speak to a member of the, NFL media that they get to talk to behind closed doors. I don't like, there's no accountability, none for officials.
And you also going to the rabbit hole, you rob some teams of possibly having a home, not that the Lions are still going to have a home playoff game, at least one, but you rob teams of an opportunity to make a lot of money by having home playoff games.
Well, they could have been in the they could have been in the running for the number 1 overall seed though, too, couldn't they? If they won that with the Eagles the way they played.
No, you're right. If they would have won that game, I believe they would the 49ers wouldn't have clinched the number 1 seed last week. It would come down to this week.
That's crazy. And that dude took it away from him. That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
But yeah. Detroit favored -5.5 this week. I believe Jared Goff is playing. I think a lot of guys from Detroit are going to play this week because there's still a possibility they could jump up, I believe, to that 2 seed. I believe I'm not sure if Dallas wins, I know they wouldn't be able to even if they won, but if the Eagles won, I'm not sure how that would work if they would jump the Eagles. If they played each other this year.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Regardless, Lions, they're in the playoffs. They're pissed off, rightfully so. On the other side, the Vikings, very interesting scenario. They do have a playoff clinching scenario this week, believe it or not.
Wow.
They have to win, number one, and then they need help from about half the league. They it's really easy.
Okay.
Quite simple. So they need
Do
to
tell.
win. They need to win first. Then they
Okay.
need a Packers loss to the Bears,
Okay.
a Seahawks loss to the Cardinals, and a
Okay.
Saints loss to the Falcons, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Saints. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh, there's a chance. It may be microscopic, but there's a chance.
Well,
But yeah,
whoever gets
regardless.
drunk enough to put that bet in Vegas is going to make a lot of money if all that happens.
Yeah. Regardless, I'm going to take the Lions in this one. They haven't announced any really major players who are sitting this week. I think Dan Campbell's competitive and he wants to avenge last week and go out the regular season with a bang, get ready for playoffs. Yeah, give me the Lions being at home in Detroit.
Well, now that you just killed that parlay that I was about to put in, I will agree with you, and I will also take the Lions. I wonder what the payout would be on that scenario.
No, it'd be nice.
Yeah, it would.
But you have to use the money to buy a Vikings playoff ticket and go.
I would consider that if it was in a warm weather situation.
Well, I mean,
That'd be kind of
it's
sweet.
Indoors.
They wouldn't host a playoff game.
Oh, yeah, duh, of course.
They wouldn't win the division.
At Lambeau.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, the next up game that has absolutely zero meaning this week, so we will zoom past it. Jets at Pats. Pats. I don't know what your inside track with Bill Belichick is these past few weeks, but I'm going to jump on that train. They'll probably lose now that I'm picking them, but I'm picking the Patriots.
Well, in an interesting situation in what could be Bill Belichick's last game coaching the New England Patriots, I will take the Pats, which, by the way, I would like to put that on the record. I know this is a meaningless game and there's other stuff to talk about, but I would like to put on the record that shame on Robert Kraft and the Patriots if they force Bill Belichick out of that stadium. That man has done nothing but earn the right to walk away.
I think
on his own damn terms.
I don't think they'd fire him. I think it'd probably be a mutual thing. You got to think he's tired. He might be tired of it too, and what?
Hell, he might be. But this conversation that somehow,
warm.
Yeah, but the notion from Patriots fans and whatever that Bill Belichick needs to go is crazy. I mean, that's not a guy that you push out. So shame on them if that's what they want, because the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, next up, NFC South matchup, Falcons at Saints. Falcons coming off a loss to the Bears. And then the Saints coming off a win against the Buccaneers. Big win for them, favored by -3.5 in the Superdome. Either team can clinch the NFC South with a win and a Bucs loss to the Panthers. Not likely. If the Bucs lose to the Panthers and lose the division, they should be expelled. They should be sent to the CFL.
Yeah, well, Baker should be sent to the UFL.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, game, a lot of importance for each team. I do think the Saints being at home, I think they're going to Derek Carr, I don't really care that much for him, but he has been playing well the last few weeks. I believe Alvin Kamara got hurt last week, so he's out for this one. But, yeah, give me the Saints at home. And barring something crazy, a win won't mean nothing because the Bucs should beat the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Derek Carr fan, but I will pick the Saints as well.
And then next up, Jags at the Titans. Jags coming off the win against the Panthers, and the Titans coming off a loss to the Texans. Jacksonville's favored -4 in this one. They can clinch the AFC South with a win. Winning they're in, locked into that 4 seed. Trevor Lawrence, I believe he is going to play this week. Their defense played really, really well last week, albeit against a shitty Panthers offensive line, shitty Panthers team in general. God, I just need to stop talking about him.
He's had it. He's had it, folks.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this season to be over and to not have false hope for next one. Not doing that again. But yeah, Titans, I think Will Levis hurt his foot last week. Not sure if he's going to play this week or if it's going to be Tannehill or Malik Willis. But give me Jacksonville. I think they'll get this one out. I know they haven't been playing that well the past few weeks, but Trevor Lawrence back, I think they'll win this one and get in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Jags will win this game too. I just don't really have much faith in the Titans. Also, I'm going to use this opportunity to call out the NFL to change your stupid NFL playoff seeding rules, please. I'm tired of teams with shit records that might be division champions hosting playoff games over teams with double-digit wins. It's frustrating and bullshit. Even though I think that if the Jags win this game, they'll be 10-7, which makes my argument kind of invalid, which
It's
in
okay.
turn makes me look like an idiot.
I get what you're saying. The Panthers made the playoffs in 2014 at 7-8-1 and hosted.
And I'm pretty sure the NFC South division champion will have a losing record as well, right?
No, the Bucs will be 9-8.
Oh,
if they
okay.
win.
Well, I'm just an idiot then.
Well, whichever team would win would get in at 9-8.
Yeah. No. Anyways, whatever. I guess the Browns will see the Jags in 2 weeks or next week.
Yep.
If this happens.
Next up, we got Seahawks at the Cardinals. Seahawks coming off a loss to the Steelers. Cardinals coming off a major upset, one of the biggest upsets the season's at Philadelphia. Kyler Murray played really well. They've said they're sticking with him next year for 2024. They believe in him as a franchise quarterback. I don't know if I do, but he's played all right since he came back from injury. Seattle's favored -3 in this one. They can clinch the playoffs with a win and a Packers loss to the Bears. So they halfway control their own destiny, like we've said about a couple of teams. Give me the Cardinals in this one, though. I think I don't think they'll send anybody. See if they can go out, see if they can end the season on a bang. Look forward to next year. They will have a high draft pick. Yeah, give me the Cardinals at home to end the Seahawks playoff hopes.
I will take the Hawks. I don't really care much for the Cardinals and the way that Kyler Murray plays. Don't really think he's that good. Don't really buy into all that hype behind him. So I will take the Hawks and hopefully them taking those sweet alternate uniforms to the playoffs.
That would be nice. Yeah. Next up, another game that doesn't these next couple games don't really mean anything as far as playoff implications, but Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs are locked into that 3 seed. Mahomes isn't playing. I'd imagine a lot of other players on that team aren't going to play. Chargers are favored -1.5, but I'm a man of my word. I'm not picking the Chargers anymore. Blaine Gabbert's going to start. Give me Blaine Gabbert. Chiefs.
Yeah, I'll take the Chiefs as well. Interesting situation, man, and kind of an unbelievable stat. The first time since Patrick Mahomes has taken over that the Chiefs will have to go on the road in a playoff game.
Yep. It can be very interesting for them. They are not looking good. So we'll see what a week off for the Stars can do for them, but I don't like their chances. We'll get into that when the playoffs actually start, but I'm not a Chiefs believer right now.
Nope.
Next up, fault. I'm telling you, it's sabotage. She's an Eagles fan.
People are saying. We would never say.
People are saying. Tell me.
But we would never say that.
Yeah. They say it.
But we wouldn't.
And you know what they say about they?
Stay away from them.
Anywho. Next up, we got a meaningless game this week. Broncos at Raiders. Raiders favored -2.5. Las Vegas coming off a tough loss, close loss last week to the Colts. Broncos coming off. Did they win? I don't think they did. They beat the Chargers last week in the first week of Russell Wilson's benching. Jared Stidham threw for 224 yards and a touchdown. 16-9 game, so defensive type game. Interesting for the Broncos this offseason. You got to think they're going to try to get rid of Russ and start fresh with Sean Payton, get his guys in there. But yeah, give me the Raiders in this one. I think the Raiders are they have been playing well since Antonio Pierce took over. I think he's got things I've read. He has the inside track to the job, to the head, to be the permanent head coach there if things keep going well. And I think they get in the season with a bang and increase his chances to be the head coach for the Raiders next season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick the Raiders as well. I have my opinion on Russell Wilson and how he's played and the Broncos kind of season as it's been, but I kind of can't help but feel bad for him with the way that whole situation kind of played out. And, them threatening him that if he didn't restructure his contract, that they were going to bench him, trade him, cut him, whatever the case was. But kind of shady on the Broncos, in my opinion. But it's a business, so I mean, I kind of get it. But kind of weird the way that whole situation kind of played out. But I'll take the Raiders in that one.
Then next up, Eagles at Giants. Philly favored -5.5 for this one. Like we said early on, they are in an absolute downward spiral right now, 1-4 in their last 5 games. The defense is getting torched, complete opposite of how it was last year, especially surprising with all the playmakers they have back there. But yeah, Giants, can't remember if they lost. Yep, they lost. Close one to the Rams. I don't think he played last week.
No, he didn't, but
who is it Tyrod? Yep, Tyrod's back in. But yeah, this won't be easy for the Eagles. This is a divisional game. The Giants are going to want to make their make their season even tougher and drop. I think they could drop as low as the 6th seed.
Who, the Eagles?
Oh, no, they're locked into that 5 seed. It looks like.
Wow.
But yeah, if the Eagles win and the Cowboys lose to the Commanders, the Eagles win the NFC South. I don't like their chances in that. But yeah, the Eagles just need to treat this as a get-right game, have some good momentum going into the playoffs, because I feel like Jalen Hurts has said it the past few weeks with these losses piling up. Like, they've got to learn from this. Well, there's some slow learners because nothing's just going right in Birdland right now. But yeah, I still think the Eagles will win this one, and I don't think they'll win the NFC East. Unfortunately, the Cowboys have kind of a layup in the season with the Commanders. But yeah, give me the Eagles in this one. I think it'll be a close game though.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles as well. Halfway, because the Giants just stink. So I'll take the Eagles.
And then next game, both teams are locked into the playoffs. You get the Rams at the 49ers. Stafford's not playing. Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald aren't playing. Christian McCaffrey is not playing. He's nursing a calf injury, so they want to get him healthy, especially with that bye week. They have a few weeks to do that. Purdy's not playing, so Sam Darnold will be starting. I'm not sure about Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, anybody like that, or Bosa, Chase Young, Fred Warner. I'm not sure who's sitting out on defense. Regardless, give me the Niners. Sam Darnold, you throw him back there in Kyle Shanahan's system, and I think that they'll do enough to win this game at home against the Rams team. It's going to be missing a lot of their playmakers. Be interested to see, though, Carson Wentz is starting for the Rams. I didn't even know he played for the Rams. I forgot about that. And I think Puka Nacua, I'm trying to think, he doesn't need that many more catches and yards to break the rookie record for receptions and yards. So interested to see if he gets that. I guess there's something to play for the Rams. But yeah, give me the Niners.
I will take the Niners as well. I kind of trust the Niners with, backups kind of the same way you said, like put Darnold back there in Shanahan's system, and he should be able to go out there and at least not self-implode if he can help it. So, yeah, I'll take the Niners as well.
And next up, Cowboys at Commanders. Cowboys coming off that win that we talked about, controversial win against the Lions. Commanders coming off a loss to the Niners last week. And get this out of the way. Again, I'm a man of my word. I'm not picking the Commanders. Dallas is favored -13.5 in this one. If they win the NFC East. They don't need any help. So yeah, give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll take the Cowboys, and I'll probably take them to cover.
Yeah. And then Sunday Night Football, game of the week, the game with a lot of playoff implications. Bills at Dolphins. Bills coming off the win against, I'm blanking over it, the Patriots last week. Dolphins coming off a blowout loss in Baltimore. Buffalo favored -3 in this one. The winner clinches the AFC East. However, if the Bills lose, they are eliminated from the playoffs, or from playoff. They don't make it in. So a lot to play for Buffalo. The Dolphins, like I said, they're locked in, but they trade places with the Bills and get that 6th seed if they were to lose. Yeah, a lot to play for both sides. Give me the Bills, though. I think they do. They step up when the competition steps up. So give me Josh Allen and the Bills. I think the Dolphins are kind of no pun intended, floundering right now. Tua's not really playing that well. Yeah, give me – damn it.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Too much fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm also going to take the Bills there. Just poor Tua having nobody to throw the ball to. Jalen Waddle, I think, is still banged up. Tyreek Hill left practice early on Wednesday because his house was on fire and was in a
Wild
walking
move by
boot.
Sean McDermott.
Yeah, any kind of distraction you can give him. But yeah, so he was. I thought it was hilarious the fact that the news broke that Tyreek was in a walking boot. And the fact that that was even seen was because he was seen in a helicopter standing outside of his house that was on fire. So that's kind of wild. I don't know if that's the first that's ever happened, but here we are. That I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, the Dolphins, man, they're dealing with so many injuries at the absolute wrong time.
And they just lost Bradley Chubb for the season.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of stuff going on. So I will take the Bills as well. Bills playing for a lot to, even be in the playoffs at all. So yeah, I'll take the Bills in that one as well.
Yeah, that's our NFL slate this week. Last week of the regular season for the NFL. Sad, but we do have the playoffs to look forward to. Should be an exciting playoffs. A lot of implications for a lot of games this week, so it'll be a fun week of football.
This sucks, man. It goes by so fast. It gets faster every year.
Yep.
It's sad. But like I said before, man, thank you guys for coming back every week and hanging out with us and listening to us talk football. And really appreciate the support in our first season doing this. Get us to 100 subs by the end of the NFL playoffs, by the Super Bowl, at least. I think we'll make it there before then. But that'd be sweet if we could get that done before then. And then we'll move into the off season.
And let us know what the loser, Chris, has to do when they lose the regular season record competition.
What's my punishment for losing the regular season NFL pick race? Let us know in the comments below. We'll be back with you guys next week for, a playoff preview, get everything all set to go for the week ahead. That will be the NFL playoffs. We will recap the college football season and the national championship game as well. So a big episode next week. Get us to 100 subs as fast as you can. If you don't, then you guys will have a punishment that we'll have to figure out, and that'll be on you. So the choice is yours. Get us to 100 subs and avoid it, or just give me all the punishment for being a big dummy and picking the wrong teams this season. Either way, we'll accept it however it comes. Thank you guys for watching High Street Sports. For John Ross, my name is Chris. This has been episode 37. Thank you so very much, and we'll see you next time. Why isn't my mouse working?